Hi, and welcome to the Quint.
Hi.
Hi, Siddesh. Hi.
I'll start by asking you, Guneet, when you announced a project in Tamil, it came as a surprise to me, and I'm sure to a lot of people, because you and Sikya have always been associated with Hindi films. So, what was the reason behind venturing into a Tamil film this time?
I think firstly, it is just an incredible story. It's such an honor to be a part of this story. Um, I actually my journey in Tamil started with Vetri Maran. He had asked me to work on Kakamotai and then on Visarnei. I did not work on producing those films, but I did work on taking them to festivals. So I took Kakamotai to Toronto and Visarnei to Venice. And post that, Visarney became India's entry to the Oscar 6 months later. And then we found ourselves trying to run a campaign in LA. And that was my introduction and working relationship that started, which started with Vetri Maran. And somewhere around there, I connected with Sudha. And when Sudha told me the story, I was just so excited. And in fact, I then started persuading Sudha to, make it happen. And if she would want to collaborate with me as a producer. So for me, it was ticking many boxes. It's a story, it's a pan India story. It's a story of bridging the gap between haves and have nots. It's directed by an incredible female director, Sudha. It's a large canvas story, which is a first for me. It is my first Diwali release now.
Right.
Um, but it really is a India story, and I think I actually feel I've been saying that I feel spiritual about this, that stories choose us than the
Right.
other way around. And we should, and as a producer, I cannot be language agnostic. You know,
Right.
I am a seeker, I'm a constant seeker for stories. I've co-produced with Norway, I've co-produced with France, with Germany, foreign language. It's always been interesting to do this, but this has been an incredible journey because then this became a co-production with 2D and Surya and Raja, and it was like finding a home in another language in India, in Chennai. And I think this is just a start of many wonderful things moving forward also.
Right. Captain Gopinath, you were the first Indian to start a low cost airline back in 2003, and your book came out in 2011. Do you remember the first time that a person or somebody suggested that this story is something that could be made into a film?
Surprisingly late Girish Karnad. I met him in a couple of dinners, and he also came to my house a few times. We were good friends, and he came to my wife across, and and he said, "Look, Bhargavi, my wife's name is Bhargavi." He said, "Look, I've been trying to persuade your husband to give the film rights for this book. I've read it in English. I've read it in Kannada. It's a fascinating book. It's got huge cinematic value because it has got village life, it has got army life, it's got a war, it's got a helicopter company and the airline, and most important, it's a story of uh, courage over adversity, and it has got full of stories, stories within stories, and it will make a great film. And if he gives that film rights to anybody, or if he allows me to look for people, I can put in a word in Bollywood, and I'm even now ready to, put on the grease paint. So this he came twice and told my wife, and that's when I was initially somehow little reluctant to give the rights, because somehow I got a feeling it'll end up like another Bollywood movie, and so I didn't want to see myself dancing around too many trees, and I didn't want it to be a flippant thing. So finally, I agreed, and that's when Guneet, fortunately came up to me through Sudha. Sudha had actually approached me. She was really, pursuing me, but I was not closing it with her because she had initially come with one Andhra producer, and I was somehow, intuitively, I told her, I said, who are you? This guy, doesn't inspire any confidence in me. Why have you brought him? So I was a little upset with her initially, to be honest. And she kept calling, but I wouldn't take her calls. And finally, she said, look, you must answer my call. And I said, yes. And then she said, look, I have made a mistake last time, but I have a producer now who's really good. And she mentioned about Guneet to me, and Guneet came to meet me. And her story itself was inspiring. And one of the reasons I agreed for Guneet immediately was, apart from the kind of the body of work she had already done, great movies. Some of the movies I had seen, fortunately. I had seen Lunchbox, I had seen Gangster Wasepo, and heard about her own story, about her background of struggles, and how she, came trumps up. It was her own journey was a great entrepreneurial journey. So I thought, at just about the time, some other producers approached me. I don't want to take their name now. So she was a great inspiration in that sense, to say, okay, go ahead.
Now, Guneet, I wanted to ask you, most Indian biopics tend to fictionalize, for dramatic appeal. As a producer, what's your approach when you need to find a balance between, telling a true story, and there's a need to make this film make the story more cinematic and, appeal to an audience?
Yeah, I think Captain has a journey with aeroplanes, so this cannot be a small film any which ways. To tell his story, this is a larger than life canvas any which ways. But I think that balance was very well maintained by Sudha, as the script is imagined. While it is made for mass India, it is made for mass audience. It's an incredible story of grit, of hustle, of partnership, and the way she has shown her female characters, the way Aparna's role in the film. So I think that balance was a delicate balance that we were always very mindful of. And in the script, so there is a certain energy that Sudha brings to the table. There is a certain energy and madness that Captain has portrayed, which is completely a new vision to put out there very early. Like India is shining, people should fly. So in early 2000s, and I think Sudha has drawn down the essence of that, and that is part of the film. And yet it is something that talks about corporate politics. It talks about entrepreneurial journey. It has a solid powerful female partner in the film. She was neck to neck with Captain, even in real life. It was not like everybody around him was also with him as partners, and it's part of the movie. So yes, we've been mindful of that, but then let's see.
Okay. Captain Gopinath, your professional life has been a series of ups and downs and then ups again. How do you keep up this positivity and this attitude to look forward even after hitting a low?
I think that's what is there in the book. It is, I think Victor Hugo who said, the glory of man is not in never falling, but rising each time he falls. And I think all of us in life, life is not fair, as John Kennedy said. It is full of tragedies and ups and downs. But I think a kind of inextinguishable optimism. Somehow, each time I fall, my father used to say, you must lose yourself in action, not in despair. Don't wallow yourself in, pity and self-pity. Don't wallow in despair. You lose yourself in action. And I tell a story sometimes to youngsters, because a lot of people write to me after reading my book. Sometimes you identify with the author and they'll say, can I come and meet you? I have a problem, and some of them want to meet me because they want money for their project, or they want to meet me for finding out how to get out of the mess they are in. Any kind of mess. They say, I started this business. I'm in terrible shape. And I say, there were two frogs which fell into yogurt, and one started praying and kept praying, and it drowned and died. The other kept swimming. It kept swimming and swimming, and it said, "I'll keep swimming. That's all I know." I mean, like in Kannada, there's a famous song of Purandara Dasa which says, "Isabeku iddu jayisabeku." You have to live and conquer. So the other frog, it says, all that I can do and must do is to swim. So as he is swimming, he suddenly discovers some firm ball underneath his feet. It is a ball of butter, and he jumps out of the thing. So I think I'm superstitious in that sense that, in a way, that if you keep struggling and don't give up, somebody will throw the, what do you call, like Draupadi got that sari from Krishna, or that in the Gajendra Moksha, the elephant is saved. Someone will open the door, and exactly what happened to me. It took me 3 years to get my license. From the day I started, 3 years. It was just one page of 3 lines saying that the government has no objection for you to start the airline. That 3 sentences took 3 years. Each time you would go, the door would be shut by somebody, and you would come back. And so I had no date saying that if I don't do it by so and so date, I will go back to farming, or I'll go and do whatever I was doing. I said, I will not stop, till the doors are open. I'll not stop till I fly. And some minister will say, okay, I'm fed up with this guy, give the license to him. That's exactly what happened. The ministers, we know they are corrupt, politicians are corrupt, businessmen are corrupt. There is corruption there. But if you go with a bag of money to Delhi, somebody will take it from you. But if you keep going and do not stop. I remember in the first time for the helicopter license, it was a Janata Dal, which was at that time in power, and before that it was Congress in power, and third time when I started the airline, it was BJP in power. And all the three, the ministers who did not take money from me, and this is the truth, is not to say that there is no corruption. There is corruption. There are rivalries. But, every day, I remember in those days, the other airlines were Jet Airways and Sahara in those days, and Indian Airlines. Indian Airlines opposed my airline. Jet Airways, the promoter got people to write every day a letter to some MP saying that this low-cost airline is unsafe for India. So every time I was about to start, there would be an obstacle. But ultimately, if you persist, I think persistence is more important than talent, is more important than all your money. You have to persist. And I think that is the message that should, hopefully has come out in the book, because I haven't seen the movie.
Guneet, Surarai Putru is easily one of your biggest films that you've produced. And I'm sure ideally you would want to see it released on the big screen. Was it a big decision as a producer, a leap of faith to go straight to OTT?
I think yes. I mean, none of us predicted a pandemic. None of us saw a pandemic coming. We started this film for the theaters and for the mass audiences, for the Tamil audiences and worldwide. But having said that, I mean, we did a grand music launch in middle, and we flew 100 kids for the first time in mid-air. We did a music launch early this year, and that was, and after that, you didn't see a pandemic coming. And even when March the pandemic hit, it was like, okay, 3 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks. But now 7-8 months down the line, it is important that people see the film. And to go ahead with times that are there right now, I think it is a very it has been a very important decision. But I think also, I think all of us, including Surya sir, 2D Entertainment, Raja Sudha, we could not have asked for a better partner than Amazon Prime. What I am excited about, this is my first Diwali release. What I'm excited about is that this is the first time the whole country, 190 plus countries, the whole India is going to see a large release of Surya Rai Potru. And this is one story that everybody in India can relate to, because my mother's first flight was Air Deccan. From Kashmir to Punjab to Rajasthan to Bengal, Assam, everybody knows Air Deccan. And of course, with Surya on board, this is going to have a very large footprint. So it's going to be for the first time that there is a film that rest of the country will also watch at the same day, and let's see. So I'm excited for these possibilities now.
How was it working with Surya? Was it all smooth, or were there times when you were pulling your hair out? Because we all know how working with some stars can be.
I have to say I've worked with a lot of actors around the world, and there's not another actor or a human being who's this humble, this amazing, this giving. I think it is a complete dream to not only work with him as an actor, but also to partner with him and his company 2D Entertainment and co-produce this. I could not have asked for a better partner. I've had the most amazing conversation with Jyotika and how much she has also loved this movie. I've had an amazing working relationship with 2D Raja and Surya. I think as an actor, he's phenomenal. He transformed from the age of 1920 to 45 in the film. He's extremely, extremely dedicated, driven, very disciplined, and there is volumes to be said about the kind of discipline that he has, both as a actor and as a producer. So I got to learn a lot with him, in fact, to be honest. And it's amazing to have that kind of relationship. I think at the end of the day, whatever you do, it's the experience that matters. And I'm very grateful for this experience. I'm very happy, grateful, and I hope when the film comes out, people enjoy the movie as much as we enjoyed making this, as much as we enjoyed putting it all together. So it's been a huge dream. It's been 3 years for all of us to work on it, but now Surya Rai Potru is coming this Diwali, and I could not have asked for a better partner, and I could not have asked for a better actor. It's been a dream.
Okay. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, but thank you so much. Looking forward to seeing the film.
Thank you.
And all the best.
Thank you, Suresh. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Captain.
Yes.